Oldendorf. I'm managing editor at Jacobin, and I am out here at Logan Square in Chicago on the picket line with some ACERO charter school teachers who are out on strike. So can you tell us a little bit who you are, where you teach, and what's going on here?
Yeah. So I'm Elly Oldendorf. I'm at I teach second grade at Carlos Fuentes Elementary in the ACERO network. This is our, I don't even know what day. It feels like 100 years. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fourth day of being on strike. It's the historic first charter school teacher strike in the United States. It's very exciting. It's very cold out, but it's worth it.
So how do you feel about this whole thing? I mean, you told me that it's your first time going out on strike. You mentioned that it's historic because it's at a charter school network. This has not happened before. So what are your, and maybe also your coworkers, your reflections on all of that?
I think, so on the first day, I want to start out with an anecdote. On the first day, first 20 minutes of a first day of strike, we saw a teacher pulled up from another charter school with coffee, and they are non-unionized, and she pulled up, so I know she doesn't make any money, and she pulled up and she said, I am so inspired by what you guys are doing. It gives me so much hope that she took, and she gave us that coffee, and it was so inspiring that this is why we're doing that, because we're all educators and we're all in this, and no longer can businesses and politicians pit us against each other. It's not charter school against public school. We're all in the public sector, and I think I'm feeling that, and I mean, we've had so much support from communities, community members, different teachers at different schools, different kinds of community members coming in, and we've all really felt like we're all part of that bigger movement to
improve public education.
Yes, thank you.
What I assume you're
that
getting
is
at.
What
Can you just talk about some of the specific issues that led to the strike, and what are the contentious stuff at the bargaining table right now?
So one of the biggest things is that we've really been pushing for a smaller class size, and the way that ACERO, previously UNO, previously UCSN, has really been, their model is based off of increased enrollment and getting revenue based off of students. So we've been saying we cannot be the educators we want to be. We cannot give our students the education they need with 32 kids in a classroom. We can't give them the emotional support. We can't give them the academic support with that many students. So class size is a really contentious issue that they see every student packed into our classrooms as more money and more revenue. And for months they've been refusing to budge on that issue.
And can you just mention briefly, this network used to be called UNO, as you mentioned. It's no longer called UNO for a number of reasons. Maybe if you could briefly mention that backstory here.
Yes, the SEC, I think, had something to do with that. It was an organization called UNO that operated. It was an umbrella organization that operated the charter schools, and there was a lot of corruption. And so they moved away from that organization, changed their name, but a lot of the same people who worked under Juan Rangel are still involved.
Juan Rangel is the former CEO who had to step down after all these corruption
allegations. Yep. But it's still.
Which were, just to be clear, those allegations were things like, it's obviously a nonprofit, but there were for-profit corporations who were contracting with the schools who were just making certain amounts of money. Often were his cousins, I think, right? His family members.
Yep.
So it's just sort of even though it's a nonprofit, it's a clear money-making venture.
Yes. So moving away from that, they spent thousands and thousands of dollars to rebrand. We got a lot of fancy new signs. Still don't have new books in my classroom. Well, I do have new books that are donated by other people, but we have a lot of really fancy signs. That's good. So class size has definitely been something that we've been fighting for. That we want to start changing the mentality that our students are not profits. That's not what we're here for. That we should give them a quality education, an education that focuses on the whole child, and we need to be able to focus on every child in our country.
So people talk about charter schools as being this method of trying to privatize public education in general. And I think people who hold that opinion might say, oh, well, charter teachers, we don't want to support them, we want to shut charter schools down because they're this method of privatizing education. to me, it seems like an alternative way of dealing with that privatizing model is what you all are doing, which is organizing a union and then going on strike against which sort of removes removes what is beneficial to people who want to privatize education, because you guys are saying we're not going to be a cheap labor force. We're not going to just work as many hours as you want us to all the time, right? Are there discussions about that within the union, about like charters in that model of free market education reform and how you push back against that?
Definitely, and I know, and I can mostly speak for conversations that happen at my school, but seeing, I began working, so I've been at ACERO/UNO/UCSN for 6 years now, and I started there right as we had just unionized, but before we had our first contract. So I've seen the shift in how teachers see themselves and how we interact with each other and how we interact with administration. In those years, when I first started, it was very much, okay, we have to stay after school, we had to do home visits, we had to visit every student's home within the first month of school, so we were running all around, having to do that on our own time, on our own money, with our own transportation, and so, but we all did it, and we all were following through with some of all those hoops that we had to jump through, and now, like, having that discussion in the broader context of we're educators, like, what do we need to be doing, and having that solidarity and that confidence to push back and say, no, we're not staying after school we're not going to do free clubs after school. Our time is more valuable. We're not going to have 40 kids crammed into our classroom. We value ourselves as educators. And I've seen that kind of lift up, that we're now seeing that we have more value, that we're not just some commodity that you can just throw away. Like, okay, that's fine, you can leave and I'll replace you with a brand new first year teacher that doesn't know that we can pay nothing.
So your labor's not a commodity, is what you're saying. Interesting. Interesting stuff. So what's the best thing that's happened on the picket line this week?
There's been a lot of great songs. I know some limbo's been happening at other schools.
Yeah, explain the limbo. I saw a video of this.
So there's a sign that talks about lowering class size, and then we limbo underneath that as it gets lower and lower. So yeah, just getting some of that community support and seeing that we're all in this together.
Sounds like we have a Rihanna song.
Yes, very exciting.
Well, we'll get back to. I'm sure you would enjoy doing the Rihanna song. So thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.